Hi friends, my name is Advocate Ajay and I'm a managing partner at Kharishter Legal Law Firm. So my friends, today I'm here to discuss on one of the most practical and approachable topics that is known as civil procedural code. As a new advocate or a fresher, we always have a question in our mind how we are going to ascertain the jurisdiction, how we are going to file a case in the court, and what are the procedural which has to be taken care while filing the cases in the court. So, my friends, today I'm here to reply and respond to all of your questions. Being an attorney, being an advocate is not a very easy job. So, whenever we start a practice or a fresh practice, we have a lot of questions and there is no one around us to guide us. Okay. So being an advocate, being an attorney, or being a fresher, we have to understand the few important questions. One is that what is the cause of action? How the dispute or discourse has came into the picture or how it has arisen. Second, what is the nature of the dispute, whether the particular dispute is of civil nature or the criminal nature. And third and the last question is that how we are going to approach the court and which court we have to approach. So my dear friends, today I am going to reply and respond all these three important questions. Along with that, my major concern is going to be this civil procedural code. So first, what is the cause of action? My friend, we have to ascertain the dispute or any discourse which has reached or approached you for your assistance or the legal opinion is within the reasonable time that is known as the limitation period. My friend, once the dispute or the discourse has approached you, you have to ascertain that that particular discourse has been approached within the reasonable time so that you can take adequate legal remedies or the legal action. So how you are going to ascertain that the particular cause of action is within the limitation? So for that you are going to refer the act which is known as the Limitation Act 1963. So within that particular act and the statute, you will be able to ascertain that particular discourse or the dispute is being approached to you within the reasonable time or not. Question number one has been easily and properly resolved. Now, we have to know what is the cause of action. My dear friends, the cause of action can be anything. Means that any actions of particular person or particular nature which has given rise to the dispute or the discourse which has to be resolved through a legal remedy. So the first question has been very sophisticatedly dealt up. Now coming to the second question, that is, what is the nature of the dispute? So we are very much aware that there are more specifically only two kinds of disputes. One is of whether the dispute is of a civil nature or whether it is of the criminal nature. Now, for us, we have to be very much precise. The criminal nature dispute and the discourse or the issues will be resolved under the criminal procedural code, whereas the civil discourse and the dispute it is going to be resolved with civil procedural code. Now, the big question is what is civil and what is criminal? So, my dear friends, we have to understand a very layman definition. Any dispute where there is no inflict of private right. So, what is private right and what is the public right? Public right is a right in the general which has been given to a layman at large and for which the recourse or the remedy is being awarded by the state, not by an individual. Whereas the private discourse or the private dispute are those disputes where there is the interest of two different parties which has been tangled and which has to be resolved. My friends, have you ever known any criminal matters where which has been filed and approached the court whereby the party is always the state? So for a layman understanding, the file or the cases will be state versus so and so person, state versus X and Y, state versus YZ. That means Any criminal case, if has to be instituted, it is always filed by the state. Whereas when it is a civil dispute, it is always filed by a individual person in his individual capacity. So it is very easy to ascertain the civil and the criminal nature. The civil will always have a private interest involved at a higher stake, whereas in the criminal, the public interest it is at a higher privilege. So one can easily ascertain the nature of the dispute, whether it is of civil or the criminal nature. My friends, we have to reach the third opinion. Now, how we are going to file a case in the court and which court we have to reach or approach. My friends, basically there are the two different hierarchies of the court which has been followed. One is known as the rural areas and second is metropolitan area. So whenever we are talking about the dispute arising in the rural area, if in the rural area we are talking about if it is of the civil nature, then the civil judge senior division or civil judge junior division is going to take care of the civil dispute. Whereas if it is of the criminal nature, then JMFC first class, JMFC second class, that is known as judicial magistrate first class, judicial magistrate second class. So for a rural area, this is a particular hierarchy. Whereas in the metropolitan area, the same issue of a criminal nature is dealt by the chief metropolitan magistrate or a metropolitan magistrate. Whereas if the dispute is in the metropolitan region, then it is taken care by the city civil court. Now we are very much aware about there are the lot of benches for a civil discourse. So for a layman understanding, I'm going to cover and discuss the few important introductions with this. Initially, the civil dispute with respect to the right of tenancy means the person who has been residing in the premises for a long tenure and he is a tenant of the premises. So all this discourse will be resolved in the small cause court. Second, if there is a dispute with respect to the consumer interest, it will be dealt by the consumer forum. If there is a dispute relating to the industrial or labor, then it will be dealt by the industrial court or the labor court and labor tribunal. If there is a dispute of a family nature, then it will be covered by the family court. And if there is a discourse with respect to the property that is known as a transfer of ownership or a possession by the builder, then all these disputes will be covered by the RERA or a tribunal. So, my friends, that these are the n number of benches which are available in the civil side. So now we are aware how, where, and in what manner we are going to approach the court. Now, question comes to a new and fresh attorney. Now we are already at one pyramid away from coming to the court. Now what we are going to do in the court and how we are going to approach the court. So my friends, today I'm going to cover the CPC. So once we are aware about the things, we will take a narration from a client that is known as a factual stories, and we are going to do a research. Research means to find a good judgment or a good precedent to support your case. And then we are going to look into the GR, government gadgets and everything, whether there is any new regulations, amendment or changes which has been brought by the government with respect to your case. So now friends, I'm going to share my slides with respect to the civil procedural code. So, my dear friends, as we know, legal steps which has to be taken uh, for a civil suit. So, whenever I'm talking about the civil suit, what is civil suit? What is the nature of the civil suit? How we are going to deal with the civil suit? For replying all these courses or to resolve all these issues, we have to take care the steps of civil suits and the actions which we have to take in for the civil suit. So all the steps of a civil suit will be covered under section or the under CPC 1908. So how we are going to approach the court. So first is the utmost important is the filing of plaint. The plaint is the document or a particular page or a particular copy of a complaint in which you will write the name of the complainant, name of the plaintiff, respondent, your prayer, your submissions, your facts and everything. So first step is to file your plaint, means filing of a plaint. So filing of the plaint is done after a drafting work is completed. You will carry that particular copy of a plaint to a court, and whereby after approaching the court, there will be the stage of affirmation. Affirmation is the stage whereby the party has to present along with attorney in the court, and he will be affirming that this is the complainant, he's a plaintiff, he is filing this particular plaint. Second comes the summons. Once the plaint is admitted, in the court or formed into the court, and it is presumed that there is an adequate complaint and the issues has been brought, the summon is the letter or a document which is sent to the other side to state and to affirm that you have to appear before the court, and the other party has to affirm come before the court because there has been a suit or a complaint has been filed against him. So once the summons is issued to the other party, he has to appear in the court. Now, if the summons is sent, the summons can be either sent to a private service or either to a bailiff, or if both the things are failed, it can be made to a public, that is known as a newspaper publication or a advertisement. So there are the n number of the procedure by which the summon can be issued. Now comes the next step that is known as the appearance of the party. So the party will be asked to appear before the court. If even the service has been made and the party fail to appear in the court, then the ex parte degree can be issued against the person for not appearing before the court. So before proceeding for an ex parte degree, you have to file a document known as affidavit of services, which states that the affidavit stating that you have already made an effective services, either through a bailiff or either through a private services or newspaper publication, and even after receiving such intimation, the other side, that is known as the respondent, is not appearing before the court, so the court may proceed with an ex parte. So for an ex parte, you have to make an application to a court that please proceed ex parte in this particular matter because the other side is not appearing in the matter. So after the ex parte, directly the judgment will be awarded. And if the matter is not an ex parte, then if the party appears before the court, he has to file a written statement to defend his case. So in written statement, he can give his submission, his rebuttal, his point, why this particular suit is not maintainable, why this particular claim which is stating, which we have filed, is not standable. So there is going to be a various defense which will be made by the other side of the respondent in his written statement. Once the written statement is filed, and if there is an additional allegation which is made by the defendant or the respondent and which has to be denied by the applicant, he can file with a rejoinder application. So the rejoinder can be filed again by the applicant or a complainant or the plaintiff to deny the additional allegation, not the original allegation. If there is an additional allegation made by the respondent, and if you are willing to deny that, so in that particular situation, you can file a rejoinder application. Now comes the production of the document that is known as a leading of evidences. So once the written statement is filed and your document is filed, you are allowed to lead your evidences. The evidences can be lead through a the court, you can produce your document before the court.
document before the court which will be presumed and been acceptable by the court. So it is not going to be a question ki, what are the documents which has been produced. So once the document or the witnesses is produced, the other side get an opportunity to deny and to question that particular document or exhibit, or he can file his document also. When both the parties either file their supporting document or enlist their supporting witnesses. So if there is a supporting document, the document has to be an exhibit. Exhibit on a plaint is different, and exhibit before the court is a different procedure. The exhibiting before the court is when you are questioning the particular document, or when you are testing the authenticity of that particular document. That particular document is either admitted or either it has been rejected. So I hope you might be aware about the evidence act, that is known as proof, disprove, and not proof. This is the three important, very much important component, that is known as proof, disprove, and not proof. You have to make ensure that your evidence is standing concretely on either of these three statements. So once that particular stage is completed, that is known as the examination of the party. So now the parties or the evidence will be examined by both the persons, and the issues will be framed. Now, what are the issues? Issues are the questions which the court has to be decided or court will decide, after which the proceeding and the trial of the court will begin. So whatever the exhibits, whatever the witnesses or the document you have to produce, you can now produce as these stages, and now you can summon the witnesses to appear before the court for his examination. Suppose I'm a witnesses who is appearing for a plaintiff, and I'm testifying for yourself. Once I make a testification or a submission before the court, my submission is done, then there will be the second and subsequent stage of cross examination. Now, my friends, you have to understand the court has, for saving a time, there is no stage of leading questions before the court. So it is highly preferable, while leading an evidence, you also lead a written document whereby you are testifying or you are giving your explanation, written examination before the court, so that that much time is saved before the court. So if other side has to cross-examine your witness, he can cross-examine. And suppose there comes the stage where your witness has breached your authenticity and he's supporting the respondent. In that particular situation, you can file an application to declare that particular witness as a hostile witness. In that particular situation, if you declare that particular witness as a hostile, then his admission and the affirmation or the statement which he has given on record will not stand valid. So you have to be very much firm while deciding that particular witness doesn't turn hostile before the court. Okay, so when we are presenting the witnesses, you have to ensure the witnesses are very credible in nature. Hearing of suit, examination of witness, and the argument. So there are the two important stage of argument. One is known as the preliminary stage of argument. Second is known as the advanced stage of argument. Preliminary stage of the argument are the arguments which take place for seeking an ad interim relief at an initial level. So in that particular stage, court doesn't go into the merit of the cases for awarding a remedy or a temporary relief or an injunction on the particular situation. So either you can go with an examination of a witnesses, or you can go with the preliminary or the advanced scale of the argument. So now we have to understand what is judgment and the degree. My dear friends, a lot of people have a very much ambiguous questions. Judgment and the degree are one or the same. No, my friends, you have to understand there is a vast difference between the judgment and the degree. Judgment is the general opinion of the judge, how he has come to the conclusive, concrete opinion of giving that particular order. That particular order is known as a degree. So the judgment is his the opinion and discriminate decision and his way of mindset, how he has come to such a conclusion. So we have to understand there are the operating judgments, and then comes to the degree of the part, that is the degree. And degree is always treated as the final and ultimate destination of any civil suit. My friend, I think so. This is a lot for today to understand for a civil procedural code, and you might have enjoyed my lecture. And if you have any questions on the issue with respect to the civil procedural code or filing, you can write to me on my particular Facebook page or the Instagram page that is known as Karish to Legal. So we are here to help you out. And my friends, I understand the ongoing pandemic situation has really demoralized the new advocate who are coming to the practices. But my friends, don't lose the hope. This is the right time where you can dig up to your knowledge and make it more wise and more bold. Thank you and have a nice time.